guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be slightly different from what I usually do, but one of the most recurring questions that I get on the channel is which rig or gear do you prefer, or if you had to go with only one setup, which one would it be? And while I do have my favorites, it is often for very subjective reasons and it would probably not be relevant for anyone else but me. So if you're thinking about building your first sim racing setup or upgrading your current one, this video is for you. There are so many options and a lot of conflicting information out there. But here's the truth, there is no perfect setup. Just like for any other product, there are a lot of different levels of options. Most of the sim racing gear available on the market is actually really good, so it's really hard to go wrong. What really matters is whether the setup is right for you and aligned with your goals, budget, and space. So in this video, we'll talk about everything you should think about and consider before committing to a setup. And then I'll show you a super helpful tool called Ready Set Sim that helps you build your ideal setup step by step. Alright, so before we talk about gear, let's debunk two big myths. And the first one is there is a perfect setup. Nope, it does not exist. There might be a perfect one for you at a specific point in time, but there is definitely no universal one. What's best for an esport driver, for example, won't be ideal for a casual Saturday night sim racer. And the second big myth is better gear will make you faster. That's a big no, not true. Upgrading from a $300 Wheelbase to a $1,000 one won't magically turn you into a pro or shave seconds off your lap times. It's mostly about practice, and more practice.
We're talking about practice, man.
But don't get me wrong, better gear can help you with overall feel and consistency, but it definitely will never replace skills. So the real question is not what's the best setup, but which setup is right for you. Building an entire simulator is very akin to building a new PC. You need to pick each part separately and then make sure that they are compatible and that everything fits within your case and your budget. For sim, at the very minimum, you need to think about the rig, the wheelbase, the steering wheel, pedals, the monitor mount, and the monitor, and you have to decide which platform you will run everything on, whether it's a PC or a console. So when it comes to sim racing setups, just like for computers, you'll quickly realize that there are many questions you should be asking yourself. I've outlined 7 key considerations, so let's get through them. And the first question is, what is your budget? This will guide everything. Nowadays, you can find sim racing setups anywhere between $1,000 and $100,000. So your budget will be the first and easiest way to narrow down your search and set priorities. And you also have to think about how much do you want to get done with this budget. Is it only to get you started and you will upgrade over time and add things over time? Or do you want this budget to include everything from A to Z, including all add-ons and accessories? Of course, sim racing is a very expensive hobby. If you are on a tighter budget, let's say maybe under $5,000 or even $3,000, you will have options, but you will be more limited and you will have to set priorities and probably look at higher value gear or bundles. Now, if money is no object, you can think of this as an investment and go straight to the gold standard, or you can still ask yourself, what do you really want and what are your priorities based on your objectives and goals? Now, if you have a decent budget, let's say between $5,000 and maybe $15,000 or $20,000, you have tons of options, and that's where the choice becomes difficult. You'll have plenty of room to consider quality, immersion, and performance. So the next question to ask yourself is, how often will you race and what are your goals? Is it just to happen once in a while, or are you planning to be on track every single day? You have to think of this as if it were a real car. You would not make the same choice whether you are looking for a daily driver, a track car, or even a show car. So if you're a casual racer and will only jump in the sim once in a while, durability is still important, but you might want to prioritize ease of use and comfort over top-tier performance. However, if you're planning to race multiple times a week or even every night, then you will want to look for gear that will offer high durability and consistency. Now, if you're a hardcore enthusiast or an aspiring esport driver, you will want to look for performance-driven gear and high-end components that are designed for intensive, continuous usage. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that in sim racing, high performance is often synonymous to quality and durability. These products are built to withstand insane amounts of driving. And when it comes to direct drive products, because the technology is so advanced already, the more performant they are, the more likely they will last over time. And the next question is, who will use this setup? Is it entirely just for you, or is your partner or even your kids going to use it as well? And this will be critical to choose your rig. If you're not the only one that's going to use this setup, then you probably want something that offers high and easy adjustability. But if it's only for yourself, then you'll want to think about rigidity first, looks, or anything else that matters to you. Now, the rig is an investment because you're not likely to have to change it anytime soon. So make sure that you think about the future and that you think about all the pros and the cons. Now, the next question is, what cars or series will you drive the most? This will also impact your choice of rig, but also the gear. If you mostly drive Formula or open wheel cars, then you'll definitely want something that offers a laid back position, as it will be a lot more realistic. Now, if you mostly drive GT, then you'll probably want to go with the traditional aluminum rig, just because it will be the best in terms of rigidity and it will offer more options when it comes to any add-on to put on the rig, such as an arm for shifter. And talking about shifter, if you're thinking about doing drifting mostly, then the shifter and the handbrakes are pretty much must-haves, and that is something to consider when it comes to the overall budget of your setup. Now, the next question is a critical one. What is most important to you? Is it performance or immersion and realism? And let's be honest, they usually go hand in hand. But for immersion, you will want to think about higher precision, higher quality gear, which also means pricier. This will impact your base setup, including the wheelbase, the steering wheel, and the pedals, but it may go far beyond that. If you are looking for immersion, you might start thinking about VR or even motion. If this is something that you are considering even in the future, you will want to think about it today, as it might impact your choice of rig, for example. If your focus is performance only, you will have a lot more choices and a broader range of prices as well. And the next question is, which platform will you use? This will dictate not only which gear to go with, as you need to make sure that they are compatible, but also potentially which sims you will be playing. Going with a PC is usually the best choice, as it will offer higher performance, better compatibility with most brands on the market, and will also offer access to most sim racing titles. However, of course, it comes with the downside of the price, as you will need something that is performant enough to be able to run your entire setup. Now, consoles are usually a great alternative, as they are cheaper and also very plug and play, but you will be limited when it comes to which gear to go with, as you need to make sure they are compatible with your platform. For example, the Fanatec ecosystem is known for cross-platform compatibility, whereas Simucube or Simagic are definitely tailored for PC users. Now, the last thing to consider is how much space do you have for your setup. Almost all sim racing setups take a lot of room, but some of them are more compact, and there are even some foldable rigs available. This is why you really need to think about where you will install your setup. Is it going to be in a dedicated room? Is it going to be as part of an office or a bedroom? And how much room can you actually dedicate to this setup? This may also impact your choice in terms of the monitors. If you want a triple monitor setup, you will need a lot of room, and if you have limited amount of room, you might want to go with a chassis mounted screen or even go with VR, which is a great alternative. So this was my list of considerations. As you can see, there's a lot that you should think about, but once you have clarity on all of this, it should really help you narrow down your options and decide which setup is right for you. However, even with a clear picture in mind, it might still be overwhelming to decide what to go with and what to prioritize. So in my opinion, a good general rule is as follows. If you are on a budget, prioritize your rig, because you will not need to upgrade it anytime soon, and get good pedals, because this is the hardest skill to master in sim racing, so starting with a strong pedal set is very important. If you are looking for immersion, then prioritize your wheelbase and your monitor setup. And if you like change and having options, then make sure that you go with a modular rig that will let you change position, like from a Formula to a GT position very easily, for example. And make sure that you choose gear that have an open ecosystem, which means that you will be able to get a lot of different steering wheels, even from other brands, and they will be compatible. So with all these considerations in mind, let's now go through every single part of the setup and see how your answers will shape your decision. And let's start with the foundation, the chassis, and the seat. This is the part you're probably the least likely to upgrade anytime soon. Unless your budget requires you to go with something foldable or not very strong, the rig that you choose today will stick with you for a very long time. There are two main types of chassis to consider, and the first one are tubular rigs. They are known for extensive adjustability and their awesome sleek look. Let's take a look at the two that I have at home that are actually very different from each other. The Track Racer TRX is highly adjustable, offers seat interchangeability, and stands out visually with its unique Alpine blue color. On the other side is the Next Level Racing FGT Pro, which is lightweight, compact, and incredibly easy to assemble. It offers the same range of seating positions, but you are stuck with the integrated seat. The second type are aluminum rigs. They're usually best for rigidity and strength, making them perfect for more intensive setups. The primary factor that determines the cost is the width of the aluminum profile. An entry-level rig will offer 40 to 80 mm of width, but if sturdiness and future-proofing is important for you, I recommend 120 or 160 mm options. I currently use the Track Racer TR160S, designed predominantly for GT-style racing, incredibly robust and visually striking with its optional blue finish. Alternatively, the Next Level Racing FGT Elite provides a broader range of adjustability, enabling you to switch between GT and Formula positions, albeit not as quickly or easily compared to a tubular rig, and also comes in the Ferrari edition. But if you are not looking for anything extravagant, you have a lot of options for traditional rigs in the 500 to 700 price range, such as the SimLab GT1 Evo. And the next part is the brain of your setup, the wheelbase. Nowadays, most wheelbases on the market are really good quality because direct drive technology is already really advanced. This means that most upgrades coming on the market won't be revolutionary, even though companies keep putting the bar higher and higher. Anything 12 Nm or higher is most likely sufficient, especially if it's your first rig. So if it's the case, you'll want something that will last over time. If you go under 12 Nm, you'll probably feel the need to upgrade in the future. The other thing to consider is platform compatibility. Not all wheelbases are compatible with all platforms. Fanatec, for example, offers great cross-platform compatibility, but other brands are exclusively for PC. The wheelbase is super important, so you'll want to make sure that you go with a company that has great customer support, offers a long-term warranty, and is known for quality and durability. Another thing you'll want to consider is the choice of steering wheels. What range of products does the company offer? Does the quick release system offers cross-compatibility with other brands? Will you be able to use third-party wheels on your wheelbase? And if not, will it require additional adapters, and do these adapters even exist? This is a key question, and it's sometimes really difficult to figure it out. That's one of the examples where Ready Set Sim can really help. I'll be demonstrating everything very shortly, so keep watching. Next on the list is one of the most important parts of your setup when it comes to performance, the pedals. This is arguably where you can find the highest level of difference when it comes to value, quality, and performance. At a minimum, if possible, you will want to have load cell pedals. Pedals are probably the product with the broadest range of options. You can go from something ultra basic to something lifelike, with literally everything in between. So let's take a look at the spectrum of options. And first are entry-level pedals. They're usually basic spring-based pedals like Fanatec CSL and are ideal for casual or beginner drivers. Next are load cell pedals, the one that I recommend, and I think it is the starting point for serious drivers, and they offer much better consistency and realistic brake feel. Examples include the Fanatec Club Sport pedals or the Thrustmaster T LCM. One step up over typical load cell pedals are ones that feature hydraulic systems to provide an even more realistic braking sensation similar to real race cars. One such example is Azetec's newly released Thorpe 2. The pinnacle in current technology are pioneered by Simucube and are the active pedals. They offer customizable feedback, incredibly realistic simulation, and immersion. Everyone knows they cost an arm and a leg, but the active pedals can significantly enhance consistency and immersive feel. But remember, they won't directly improve lap times without practice and skills. They are definitely nice to have, but not a must-have. And even within each of these categories, we are starting to see various price ranges. Moza, for example, recently came out with their own active pedal, which is much cheaper than the Simucube, the M Booster. I will actually be comparing them head to head in my next video, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And the next part we'll be discussing is your direct connection with the track, your monitor setup. That will include your screen, but also your monitor mount. You will want to consider a lot of things: the space that you have, the immersion that you're looking for, and if you're thinking about VR on the long term. Single screen is ideal for budget-conscious or space-limited setups, unless of course you go for a massive 57-inch like this one. But as a baseline, you should consider at least a 34-inch curved for decent visibility. Triple screens will provide excellent peripheral vision and significantly enhance immersion. It requires substantial space, budget, and a decent PC. However, this might be the preferred setup of the majority of sim racers, from casual to esports. Another option is to go with a VR headset. This will offer unmatched immersion and realism, but demands a powerful PC and may not suit everyone due to comfort or motion sensitivity. An alternative to that would be to consider eye tracking devices. Lastly, TV screens or projectors can be great alternatives for budget-friendly setups if you already own a compatible TV. However, they typically have higher latency and less sharpness than dedicated monitors. When it comes to the monitor mount, if you are limited in space or budget, you'll likely want to go with a chassis-mounted setup. However, if you can avoid it, I'd highly recommend a freestanding monitor mount to allow for better positioning of monitors and avoid any shaking. And last but not least is the platform. This is definitely going to be key when it comes to which gear you can go with and which sims you'll be able to play. PC will offer the widest range of sim titles, maximum hardware compatibility, superior performance potential, and extensive customization options. It is ideal for those seeking extensive flexibility and high-end immersion features like triple screens or VR. Console, on the other hand, will allow you for easier setup and be more affordable initially, which may be more ideal for casual or beginner racers. However, hardware choices and supported racing games are more limited. So as you can imagine, it can be really difficult to connect all the dots together, and you can quickly get a headache thinking about all the options that you have and how to make the final decision. And this is where Ready Set Sim can really help. It was created for this exact reason by people who found themselves in that exact situation and decided that there should be a better way. Alright guys, I'm on the Ready Set Sim website, so let me show you exactly what this tool can do for you. For now, I really want to focus on the actual tools that they give you. So we'll go into build now. You are starting on this page. You can see on the left here, we are on the sim rig builder. That is their main tool, and that is the one that I'm going to be focusing on today. But you'll see that there is a second tool called the Simfigurator, and this is mostly for people that need a starting point. People that really don't have much knowledge about the options that are out there and just need kind of somewhere to start from, an initial setup, so that they can compare other gear with. But I will get back to that a little bit later in the video, so let's start with the sim rig builder. So you can basically think of this as a PC part picker for sim racing setups. Let me show you how it works, and to start I'm gonna go with the wheelbase. So I'm gonna start an item, and as you can see on the first page you will see a lot of products options, and you can always load more. So they have pretty much everything that's available on the market. What I really like is that you have a clear view on all your options, and one thing that I really like that they included on this page and on the products is a score. As you can see, they don't all of them have a score yet. They're still working on that. I know they are also relying on the community overall to give their own score. Anyone that has tried some of these products will give it a score, and they will do an average and put it for every single product. But let's say, I'm interested in learning more about the Simicube 2 Ultimate. I can click on it. The score is actually based on value, performance, and quality. So for this one, as you can see, performance and quality are a huge 10. The value is lower, probably because of the price point, which is of course very high. I am going to choose the Simicube 2 Sport for now, and then I can go ahead and choose a wheel. A lot of options available. Of course, a lot of steering wheels available on the market, so I'm gonna do VPG Sim wheel, which has an 8.6 score. I'm gonna add it to the build, and as you can see, and that's something that I really like about this tool, is that it tells you if your steering wheel is compatible with the wheelbase that you've chosen. So in this case, you will need an adapter to be compatible, so it offers you the option to add it to the build, which I'm gonna do now. And that is something that I think is a game changer. I myself still struggle with really understanding what steering wheels are compatible with which wheelbases. Not all of them have adapters. So some of the wheelbases will really limit you in terms of what steering wheels you can go with. So for example, my Fanatec F1 wheel, which I really love, is not compatible with any other wheelbase. So even though I still love it and I would love to be able to use it, I cannot use it on Moza or on Simicube. I can probably show you actually if I remove this and I add Fanatec Formula. See, you can see that it's actually telling me I chose the F1 Esport V2 from Fanatec, and it's saying it's not compatible and there are no adapters available. So if I had this tool, I would have known right away, but I had to search, and I spent so much time trying to find a way so that I could actually use my F1 wheel on other wheelbases, and it is just not possible. I am going to choose a different one, and I'm going to go with the Asher Racing, which I actually really like. and those are compatible, so no need for an adapter or anything. Now for some other products, such as for example the KS steering wheel, you might have different reviews available. So this one, for example, the overall score is 8.4. SimRace reviews give it a 8.7, while the SimRacing Den give it a 8.2, which is an overall score of 8.4. So if there are a lot of differences between the different scores, for example, you can click on here, get to the video, and understand really the different points of views. Here it looks like in terms of the quality. SimRace reviews gave it a 8.6, while SimRacing then gave it 7.5, which is I think where the difference in the overall score really got impacted. So you'll see that there is also some of my reviews included in there. So for example, the Asher steering wheel, the F64 that I recently reviewed, if you click on it, you'll see that the overall score is actually based on my recent review, and it's a good way for me to introduce my brand new website that I just launched recently. So if you click on this blue arrow, it will take you to the blog post on my website, the full post reviewing this steering wheel. You'll also have the link to the YouTube video associated with it. I will definitely put the link in the description below, so if you're interested in seeing my website, please don't hesitate to click on it. So the other thing is, as you add products here at the top right here, as you can see, your total price adds up, so you can keep track of your budget, make sure that you stay in your budget, and you can change, you know, if this was too expensive because I wanted to stay under $2,000, then I can go with something else instead. So let me show you another really cool feature. I'm gonna look at pedals. I would actually really like to compare the Simucube active pedals with the Moza M Booster pedals. I can't seem to find them, but you can actually in the filters choose the brand. So I'm gonna choose Moza, and now I actually see the M Booster. So I'm gonna add this to the list of comparison and add active pedal and compare those. So of course there is a huge price difference between the Moza and the Simucube active pedals, and I'm actually going to review the M Booster active pedals very soon, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And then of course you can keep doing and do the same if you need a cockpit, if you need, you know, seat and brake, you can just add everything, but you understand how it works now. So I'm gonna go to build summary, and now you'll see the products that you've selected, the total price. If you use one of the discounts that they offer, such as, you know, for the Asher Racing, you can get up to 5% off. However, it seems like this steering wheel is out of stock on this website specifically, so I would have to go with a different one or buy it from a different website. But this is your summary, and you can either share your build or you can save it for later, so that then you can come back and see your saved builds later or modify them. So yeah, overall I think this is an amazing tool. I think it's super nice. It makes your life so much easier than having to go to all the different websites and, you know, trying to compare one steering wheel with another, understand which one is compatible with your wheelbase, and then of course keep track of your total price, make sure that you stay in your budget. Being able to have access also to just reviews of each of the products very easily, super helpful. I really think this is a very promising tool. Please give it a try. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below. Ready Set Sim also offers a second type of rig building tool called the Simfigurator. It's especially useful for those who either don't want to individually select each item or don't know where to start. Instead, it gives you a set of components that meet your criteria and budget. This is based on a few questions that you will need to answer first, such as your experience in sim racing, any parts you currently own, the parts you are looking to purchase and your priorities, your all-in budget, and which platform you'll be running everything on. It's a great way to get a starting point, and then you can compare and modify each product from there. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. Would it be helpful for you? Is that something that you would use? Is there anything else that you would like to see? Any other options? I'm happy to, of course, talk with them and let them know of any feedback that you may have. But I think for me, it's a very, very good start. I think it's really helpful. I wish when I started in sim racing that something like that existed, because it was so difficult to just get to learn about every product that's available, learn about the brands, understand, the performance, the quality, the durability of each of the products. There's so much information out there. It can also be overwhelming sometimes, and I really like this platform. If there are any other topics that you would like me to cover, please let me know. But that's gonna be it for today's video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.